Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Mark Straight to the Philippines. Today's topic, what is a Christian passport bro? Like, what's the difference between that and like a normal passport bro? If that sounds interesting, stay tuned. So the basic definition of a Christian passport bro is someone that's a Christian, typically a man, that will come over to the Philippines or Thailand or DR or another country and look for that traditional conservative good Christian wife, right? They want that stay-at-home mom, the stay-at-home wife, the old-fashioned lady, that idea. And that's actually identical or pretty similar to what the real definition of a passport bro is anyways. A passport bro is just a man that goes overseas to find a good life, to find a more traditional life usually. Um, but the difference between the two is sometimes they get lost along the way, or sometimes uh, they might want to have fun or whatever. Now, there's a lot of videos on TikTok and uh, other places where these Western women are criticizing passport bros, saying that they don't actually want marriage. They just want to have fun for a cheap time, and they can't get any girls back home, so they're just over there to let loose and go wild. And that's not really true. And they're usually either being intellectually dishonest or ignorant on the subject. Because literally, like, the definition of passport bro, once again, is someone that goes overseas to find a good life, to find a traditional life. So the whole idea they just go wild and party and just hooking up left and right is not necessarily true. That does happen sometimes. There's temptation, and like it's like a kid that's let loose in a candy store by himself. There might be too many temptation, too many sweet treats. He wants to try them all. But a Christian passport bro really is someone that's really striving really hard to do things right, and they have good, honorable intentions, and they just really want that old-fashioned, traditional, conservative Christian life that just wants to be a stay-at-home mom or wife or take care of the family and go to church together on Sundays and just be one big, happy, loving family. Like, to cook and clean and take care of everyone and all that. It's really not that hard to understand, but of course, men are bad in today's culture, so they're trying to vilify all of us and demonize all of us. And anytime they see an example of someone who just goes a little crazy or gets tempted with stuff, they try to paint us the villains. But even temptation itself is a Christian concept, so that's part of it. Only Jesus was perfect, so the idea that, like, hey, you might be tempted here, that's a normal biblical concept. So they're being intellectually dishonest when they use these sort of attacks against the community. Now, some men may mistakenly believe that you can't be Christian and be like red pilled, or you can't be Christian and be like part of the MGTOW or passport bro movement or anything like that. And I'm going to go over and address that because I think they're wrong. First off, the Bible is full of tough, what you might consider like red pilled, just very tough men who are also men of faith. For example, there's David and Goliath, how he stood up to a giant and not only was brave and slew him, but then led a war, led several war battles, and just absolutely destroyed their enemies and everything. Or how Samson, he had all the muscles and everything, and yeah, he had problems with Delilah, and yeah, that's just another example, though. Like, this is a prophet of God, a good man of God, and he even had problems with women and stuff. That was his Achilles' heel, or as Paul put it, his thorn in the flesh sort of thing. But he was still overall a good man, and he just had this one problem. And there's also David and Solomon. They had similar issues. They were good, godly men overall, but for some reason they just really struggled with the ladies. So you can be a good, godly man and still face temptation. We all do, especially here. where there's millions of beautiful women everywhere, but just be careful with that, because, if you want that godly traditional wife, then the last thing you want to do is mess it up when you find one, just because there's temptation everywhere. But even Jesus himself, he got angry and overthrew the money table at the temple and stuff. And yeah, he was angry at the religious leaders and their hypocrisy. But it just shows he was angry. He's still a big, strong man, right? He was a carpenter for 30 years. That's a pretty physically demanding job. And then he also had to carry that cross and for a very long distance while being whipped and stuff and everything else. So there's nothing wrong with, quote, being manly or what they might label as toxic masculinity. It's not toxic, it's biblical masculinity. There's Bible's just full of examples of strong men who were still good Christian men or good Jewish men of their time and everything. And do you think someone like King David, David slew Goliath, you think he was like a weak, blue-pilled man that was scared of women or, yes, ma'am, whatever they said, and just let culture define him? And no, he was definitely what you would consider a red-pilled man. He was living on the land. He was a shepherd. He had to wrestle a lion or something with his bare hands. That's a man's man, right? So, Samson, again, similar thing. You can't do that and be like a blue pill nice guy who just doesn't want to ever be confrontational or just goes along with the crowd. Now, some pastors are even saying that men going their own way or whatever is selfish and they are disobeying God's will, blah, blah, blah. And I gotta question the motive behind that. Like, maybe they want men to get married and have kids so their church gets bigger, ties and stuff. But regardless, it's just not doctrinally true. The Bible specifically says, actually, that some people are meant to be single, and either for God's will or for other reasons, but they have a purpose in life, and that purpose would be distracted from by getting married and everything. So there's nothing wrong with a man going their own way. They're like, hey, I just don't feel called to marriage, unless God brings around some beautiful, amazing woman and changes my mind at this point in my life. I just don't feel it. Like, that's actually a pretty biblical idea, that some people are just supposed to be single, and if anything, them getting married would be outside of God's will, because God has plans. Like, if he wants them to travel and be a missionary, but then the wife wants to stay home and have kids and get a job, they're not going to be able to do like their life's purpose. So then that brings us back to, can a Christian be, quote, red-pilled? And I would say yes. I think, as I said it earlier, King David, Samson, Solomon, all these guys, these big, strong men, they proved over and over again, even Jesus, that you can be a big, strong man, either physically or intellectually or whatever, or both, and still be a man of faith. I would argue that God is actually the one that made, gender or masculinity, for example, or femininity. Like, God made male and female. So this whole, can you be masculine? Can you be that? Yeah, that's how God designed us. He literally made us that way. He gave us our parts and gave us our hormones and actually spelled it out, in the Bible and everything, how we're supposed to live and act and everything in the marriage unit and be the leaders and be the man in the house and all that. So in conclusion, once again, can a man be Christian, and can he be a passport bro, or can he be part of the NGTOW or anything, or can he do whatever? I would say yes. The Bible's full of examples of strong masculine men, and I don't see anything wrong with going overseas to find a more traditional conservative, good, religious wife, someone that wants to be that good Christian wife and stay at home and do her duties, and they know their roles. And there's people are like, "Oh, how dare you for saying that?" But like, they have their roles and you have your roles, and they actually want that lifestyle. That's how they were raised. They see all the problems with the West, like divorce and everything, and they don't want that. They want to be a stay-at-home mom and wife. Usually, they're very family oriented. So I would say it's all good. And yes, do men face temptation over? Absolutely. Like I said, sometimes it's like the kid lost in the candy store and they're just overwhelmed, looking around and so many choices. But like the intention's there that they want that good wife, they want that traditional wife, and hopefully that if they're following God's will and leading their life, that they're not screwing around and playing around too much, but can actually I mean, hookups and stuff are fun and everything, but they're overall meaningless in the large scheme of things, and they're not going to provide that joy and satisfaction as like a real strong relationship where that person really loves you and you can build a family together and bond and all that stuff. But that's just my opinion. I'm just a vlogger on YouTube, so what do I know? Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm full of crap? Or do you know? I'd love to hear it. But I just know like these women are keep attacking passport bros, and a lot of it's wrong, and they just hate us and they hate the culture and everything. But I mean, it's always a little. There's always going to be a few bad apples that ruin the bunch, right? Or give us a bad name. But I don't think they're really passport bros. Check out my other video, like the difference between passport bros and sex pets, and it makes it very clear, like, there's very two different groups of people and what they're looking for. One's just looking for their good time, hookups and holidays and friends and benefits. And one's looking for that more traditional life and that family and everything. So check out that video too after this if you want to. But yeah, that's it for today's video. If you liked it, smash that like button. It really helps out the channel. I really appreciate it. You guys mean the world to me, and they enable me to keep doing these videos. Subscribe if you want to. I do a bunch of videos like this, like being here in the Philippines, traveling, retiring young or semi-retiring, being a digital nomad, working online to travel. I do all that stuff. So definitely subscribe if that sounds interesting. Like if you want to. I'll see you next time. God bless. Peace.